Okay, so our topic for today is all about frame, suspension, steering, tires, wheels, and wheel alignment. So this will be the coverage for our final examination. So the topics encompass the following. First, we have the frame. Second, we have the suspension system. Third, we have the steering system. Next, we will also focusing on the discussion for steering system maintenance, which is the main focus of our course, which is to enhance your skills and knowledge all about this. Also, we have the tires, wheels, and wheel bearings, and last is the wheel alignment. For the overview, so we have stated earlier that automotive chassis, wala, nawawala. That automotive chassis provides the strength necessary to support the vehicle components and the payload placed upon it. So sabi natin, the suspension system contains the following, which is the first, the springs. Second, we have the shock absorbers and other components that allow the vehicle to pass over uneven terrain without an excessive amount of shock reaching the passengers or cargo. Kaya nga pag sinabi natin suspension, ang unang-unang pumapasok sa ating isip is shock. Ano? Kasi it dictates comfort and convenience to the passenger and to the driver. So the steering mechanism is an integral portion of the chassis as it provides the operator with means of controlling the direction of the travel, as well as this is one of the main important part, which is the steering mechanism. So alam naman natin na when we say steering mechanism, it controls the driver and the direction of the vehicle, kung kakanan, kung kakaliwa, or whatever directions we want to. So the tires grip the road surface to provide good traction that enables the vehicle to accelerate first, second, to brake, and make turns without skidding. So ang ating concern is convenience and comfort in terms of the passenger and in terms of the driver. So lagi ang ating iniisip is how we can drive safely without skidding. So working in conjunction with the suspension, the tires absorb most of the shock caused by road irregularities. So the body of the vehicle encloses the mechanical components and passenger's compartment. So it is made of relatively light steel, metal, or composite plastic. Nowadays, the challenge is to provide body structure na medyo light para tipid sa gasolina. So the components which make up the chassis are held together. Nasaan na? The body, nasaan na ba? So the body of the vehicle encloses the mechanical components and passenger compartment. So it is made of relatively light sheet metal or composite plastics. So the components which make up the chassis are held together in proper relation to each other by the frame. So in this chapter, we will discuss the operational characteristics and components of automotive chassis and body. So these are the objectives of our lessons. First, we must have to understand the function, construction, and types of frames used on wheeled vehicles. Second, we must able to identify automotive suspension components, their functions, and maintenance requirements. Third, identify the major components of steering system. Fourth, we have understand the operating principles of steering system. Number five, understand the differences between the linkage, rack, and pinion type steering. Number six, understand the operation of power steering. So number seven, we have understand service and repair procedures for manual and rack pinion type steering mechanism. On our discussion, I will be having more on explanation, and then I will be sharing video documentations and YouTube links for you to watch on. Kasi mamayang hapon, ay hanggang tanghali lang tayo, yung pang mamayang hapon, you can watch the YouTube links associated with our lessons and able for you to understand what I am discussing. So, pwede kayong mag-nood ng video para mas ma-enhance yung inyong background about this. Number 8, identify the procedures for servicing power steering belts, hoses, and fluid. Number 9, identify the characteristics and basic construction of a car. Number 10, understand tire and wheel sizes. Number 11, understand tire ratings and the different types of wheels. Number 12, identify the parts of driving and non-driving hubs and wheel bearing assemblies. Number 13, we must also understand how to diagnose yung common tire, wheel, and wheel bearing problems. So I think this one of the most interesting part natin na when we drive, we encountered problem with the tire sa mga wheel bearings, bakit maalog, bakit kumakabig, bakit hindi maganda yung ating pakiramdam pag nagda-drive. Number 14, understand tire inflation and rotation procedures. Meron tayong tinatawag na tire rotation. Ang tire rotation, so ginagawa natin siya para magkaroon ng balanse ang tire wear. Ano? So, ibig sabihin para pantay yung pudpud. Minsan kasi, or most of the times, there are sides ng vehicle na yun yung commonly loaded. Kasi yun yung halimbawa, doon umupo lagi yung mataba. Kunyari, ano. For example, ano, and then inflation, yung flat. Number 15, understanding static and dynamic wheel balance. Wheel balance is one of the most important part din ng ano naman natin na ginagawa natin at isa sa mga mahal na procedure yung wheel balancing. Ano. Number 16, understand the different methods for balancing tires and wheels. Of course, we have a method. Number 17, understand wheel bearing service. Bearing servicing tinatawag. Number 18, understand the procedures for maintaining tires, wheels, and wheel bearings. Of course, we have maintenance. And sabi nga natin, since it is a component, meron din siya expiration date, meron din life, meron din expectancy, and then meron din tayong tinatawag na maintenance. Understand the purpose of each wheel alignment setting. Number 20, identify the different types of equipment used during wheel alignment service. And then number 21 and 22, understand the procedures for repairing and refinishing automotive bodies. And number 22, understand the Naval Construction Force policy on corrosion control. Okay? So, do you have any questions so far? So, on the first part, we have the what we call frames. So, pag sinabi nating frame, ito yung kaha. Ano? The separate frame and body of type of vehicle construction is the most common technique used for producing most full size and cargo size. So, yung common dati is yung magkabukod yung frame and body. Kaya, frame and body. So, in this type of construction, the frame and the vehicle body are made separately and it is complete unit by itself. So, the frame is designed to support the weight of the body and absorb all loads imposed by the terrain suspension system, engine drive train, and steering system. So the body merely contains and in some cases protects the cargo. So the body generally is bolted to frame at a few points to allow for flexure of the frame and to distribute the loads to the intended loading carrying members. So the components of this type are the side members, we have the cross member and the guest plate as shown in figure 14-1. Okay? Ayan. So we have the side member, we have the gasket plate, and we have the cross member. Okay pa? So this is the typical frame design. So the side members or rings are the heaviest part of the frame. Ito. The side members are shaped to accommodate the body and support the weight. They are narrow toward the front of the vehicle to permit a short turning radius for the wheels and then widen the under main parts of the body where the body is secured to the frame. So trucks and trailers commonly have frames and straight side members to accommodate several designs of bodies to give the vehicle added strength to withstand heavier load. So, syempre, ito yung nagdadala na parang pinakabigat kasi siya yung mahabang bakal. And then the cross members, okay, ito naman yung ating cross member. The cross member are fixed to the side members to prevent weaving and twisting of the frame. So, syempre, ang cross member ay support with the side member. The number, size, and arrangement of the cross member depends on the type of vehicle for which the frame was designed. Usually, a front cross member supports the radiator and the front of the engine. So the rear cross member furnishing support for the fuel tanks and rear trunk on passenger cars and the tow bar connections for trucks. So additional cross members are added to the frame to support the rear of the engine or powertrain components. Okay pa? So for mga may tanong po sa side member and cross member, ay wala. So next, the gusset plates are angular piece of metal plates used for additional reinforcement of heavy duty truck frames. So with this type of frame construction, the body structure only needs to be strong and rigid enough to contain the weight of the cargo and resist any dynamic loads associated with cargo handling and cargo movement during wheel operation, and to absorb shocks and vibration transferred to the frame of the frame. So in some cases, particularly under severe operating conditions, the body structure may be subjected to some torsional loads that are not absorbed completely by the frame. Okay, yun nga palang ibinigay ko po sa inyong activity, yung 21 activities. So, I think magagahol pa rin kayo kahit tayo ay magawa ng Tuesday and Saturday. Pwede na kayong magawa this week kahit ako nasa Palawan. But don't forget to document. Okay lang po ba? Any response? Kasi 21 yung pinapagawa kong activity sa inyo. Pag hinintay nyo pa yung next week, baka hindi nyo matapos. So, you need to comply those activities. So, meron na naman yung materials and instructions on how to perform. Yes, Lance?
Sir, present po. Nalito ako.
Okay.
Thank you po. Sir, ako din po.
Sino yun?
Malon.
Apelido sasabihin lagi.
Dating gina po.
Dating Ginoo Malones. Okay na. Okay, so this basically applies to heavy truck and not passenger vehicles. So in a typical passenger vehicle, the frame supplies approximately 37% of torsional rigidity and approximately 34% of bending rigidity. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, di ba, may bigla-bigla natutumbang truck. Ano, ibig sabihin mahina ang under chassis ay yung support mechanism. Ibig sabihin, there should be a balance and there should be a rigidity or there is strength dapat in terms of body. So the balance is supplied by the body structure. The most important advantage of separate body and frame are as follows. So syempre pagka yung isa naman pag body and frame kasi yung uso ngayon, yung tinatawag nating unitized body, yung nakabuilt na yung upper body at saka yung chassis. Ngayon, may isang option tayo yung tinatawag nating body and frame. So when we use body and frame, these are the advantages. Una, ease of mounting and dismounting the body structure. Second, versatility. Various body types can be adapted to a standard truck chassis. Number three, strong rug designs. These are easily achieved through vehicle weight is increase. Next, isolation of noise generated by drivetrain components from the passenger compartment through the use of rubber mounts between the frame and the body. Next, simplistic design. The yields is relatively inexpensive and easy manufacturing. Frame members serve as support to which springs independent suspension, radiators and ventilation may be attached. So additional brackets, outriggers, and engine supports are added for the mounting of running boards, longitudinal springs, bumper, engine stowing, traction absorbers, gas tanks, and spare tires. Okay po, may tanong po kayo sa frame. Okay, so we will now proceed with the other types of frames. Well, so we have first, we have ito yung tinatawag nating integrated frame and body as you can see in the picture. Yan yung tinatawag nating integrated frame. So integrated frame and body or the monocoque type. So the integrated frame and body components are referred as unitized construction. So this is the combination of frame and body into single one-piece structure. So this is done by welding components together. So naka-welding yung upper body dun sa chassis by forming or casting the entire structure into one piece. Simply by welding a body to a conventional frame, however, does not constitute an integral frame and body construction. In a truly integrated structure, the entire frame and body unit is treated as a load-carrying member that reacts to all loads experienced by the vehicle, road loads, as well as cargo loads. Also, the integrated type bodies for wheeled vehicles are fabricated by welding preformed metal panels together. So the panels are performed in various load-bearing shapes that are located and oriented to result in a uniformly stressed structure. So ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina na unitized body. Ano? So some portions of the integrated structure resemble frame-like components, while others resemble body-like panels. This is not surprising because the structure must perform the functions of both of these elements. So the integrated frame and body construction allows an increase in the amount of noise transmitted in the passenger compartment of the vehicle. However, this disadvantage is negated by the following advantages. Ito naman yung advantages no unitized body. Ano? Una, substantial weight reduction, which is possible when using a well-designed unitized body. Second, we have the lower cargo floor and vehicle weight. Third, we have protection from mud and water required for driveline components on the previous vehicles. And last, reduction in the amount of vibration present in the vehicle structure. Another type of frame, we have the truck frame. Ito, or the ladder type. Okay, parang hagdan. Ano ang itsura? The truck frame or ladder frame. So, pag sinabi natin truck frame or ladder frame, from the word itself, parang hagdan. The truck frame allows for different of truck beds of enclosures to be attached to the frame as shown in figure 14-3, yung itsurang parang hagdan. And then for larger trucks, the frames are simple, wrapped, and constructed from channel iron. So the side rails are parallel to each other at standardized widths to permit the mounting of stock transmission, transfer cases, rear axles, and other similar components. So trucks that are to be used as prime movers have an additional reinforcement of the side rails and rear cross members to compensate for added towing stresses. So ito yung truck frame or ladder frame, common siya sa truck. Okay pa? Next, frame maintenance. So actually, frame maintenance require little frames require little or if any maintenance. Parang napaka-rare. Ano? However, if the frame is bent enough to cause misalignment of the vehicle or cause faulty steering, parang napaka-common din naman siyang nabe-bent or nami-misalign, the vehicle should be removed from service. So, ang ginagawa, drilling the frame and fish plating can temporarily repair small cracks in the frame side rails. Kung halimbawa, naputol yung side rails. So, care should be exercised when performing this task as the frame can be weakened. So, the frame of the vehicle should not be welded by gas or arc welding unless specified by the manufacturer. So, the heat removes temper from the heat metal and if cooled too quickly, causes the metal to crystallize. Minor bends can be removed by the use of hydraulic jacks, bars, and plugs. Okay po? So that ends our first part, which is the frame. May question po? Wala na ata ako eskwela. Yes, Pilyerba.
Sir, magkaiba pa po ang chassis sa frame.
Pag sinabi natin chassis, general term siya. It connotes yung entity sa ilalim ng sasakyan. Under chassis ang tawag doon. Pag sinabi naman natin frame, yun yung pinakabakal lang. Frame, pinakabakal. Okay pa? So, ibig sabihin pag chassis, we are pertaining to the under chassis component, under chassis. Kasama dun yung kasama ang ating mga rocker arm, mga shock, kasama ang frame, kasama ang ano. So, ibig sabihin under chassis components yun. Pag sinabi naman nating frame, yun yung parang pinakabaka lang. Yung cross member at saka yung side member. Yun yung frame. Thank you, Mr. Filiaba, for clarification. Kakarating mo lang ata.
Hindi po sir, kanina po. Na ano pong wifi namin naputol po.
Ba't di ka nag-attendance?
Nag-message po kanina sa sa Converge.
Okay. Sinong bagong dating? Si Cedric din, Garing. Sino pang walang attendance dyan?
Gracilia Peter. Wala pong kayo sa amin, sir.
Okay, wait. Isa-isa, Gracilia. Nandiyan na si Gracilia. Sino pa? Enrico Tampol. Pagka okay na, pwede na ibaba ang kamay para makita kung sinong hindi pa. Christian,
Okay na po.
Umali, okay na. Si Umali, kanina pa meron. Okay na. Cedric, okay na, Gary.
Okay na po ang Gracilia, sir.
Brasilia, okay na. Okay po, so we're on part 2, the suspension system. So pag sinabi naman natin suspension, di ba, yun yung parang drivability ng sasakyan. So common, ang pumapasok sa ating isipan pag pinis natin suspension, shock. Ano? So the suspension system works with the tire, frame or unitized body, wheels, wheel bearing, brake system, and steering system. So all the components of these systems work together to provide a safe and comfortable means of transportation. So pag sinabi natin suspension, combination niya ng tire, frame, and unitized body, wheels and wheel bearings, brake system, and steering system. So the suspensions are as follows. So first, it supports the weight of the frame, body, engine, transmission, drivetrain, passengers, and cargo. Kaya nga pag sinabi natin, pag bumili tayo ng kotse, di ba sabi, maganda ba ang suspension na yan? Ano, masarap bang i-drive? Suspension. Ano? Next, provide a smooth and comfortable ride by allowing the wheels and tires to move up and down with minimum movement of the vehicle. Diba? Pag mataas ang sakyan, maganda ang suspension kasi mataas yung maganda yung drivability. Pagka mababa naman, ramdam na ramdam mo yung traction ng kalsada. That's why sinasabi natin mas maganda yung malaki yung gulong, mas mataas, kasi mas maganda yung suspension. And the next, work with the steering system to help keep the wheels in correct alignment. Keep the tires in firm contact with the road even after striking bumps or holes in the road. Diba? Ano, kahit lubak, basta ano, maganda ang takbo. Ano, basta mga 4x4. Ano, allow rapid cornering without extreme body roll or vehicle leans to one side. So, hindi nagko-cornering. Pero dun sa mga maliliit na kotse, kagaya nung sa amin, ano, ramdam na ramdam mo pagka ikaw ay kakaliwa o kakanan or you are cornering or turning, halimbawa sa tingga, when you are driving on that area, pagka ikaw ay palusong, parang feeling mo na kumakabig pa kanan kasi hindi ganun kataas yung suspension. So, allow the front wheels to turn from side to side for steering. Okay, ano pang function? It also prevents excessive body squat o yung tinatawag nating body tilts down in rear when accelerating or carrying heavy loads. Also, it prevents excessive body dive, which is the body tilts down in front when braking. So, we have several types of suspension. The first one is the independent suspension as shown in 14.4-4. So kapag ganito yung pang-ilalim, ganito yung itsura niya, ito ay tinatawag nating independent suspension. So merong stabilizer link, merong coil spring, upper ball joint, short upper control arm, and long lower control arm. So from the word itself, independent suspension. Ibig sabihin, kung malubak sa kanan, so ang kanan lang ang naapektuhan. Ano, hindi nagda-drive yung kabila. So the independent suspension allows one wheel to move up and down with the minimum effects on the other wheel. So although may effect, hindi ganun karamdam. Kaya siya ay tinatawag na independent suspension. Since each wheel is attached to its own suspension unit, movement of one wheel does not cause direct movement of the wheel on the opposite side of the vehicle. That's why it is called independent suspension. So with the independent front suspension, the use of ball joints provides pivot points for each wheel. In operation, the swiveling action of the ball joints allow the wheel and spindle assembles to be turned left and right and to move up and down with changes in road surfaces. So this type of suspension is most widely used on modern vehicles. Ito yung mga kalimitang ginagamit ng mga bagong sasakyan ngayon. Independent suspension. Okay? Again, yan. Okay po. May question po sa independent suspension? Okay, so the next type of suspension or may, wait lang. Suspension system components, ito, ano? So the basic components of suspension components are the following. Of course, we have the control arm. Okay, we have the long lower control arm. We have the upper control arm. So the control arm is the movable lever that fastens the steering knuckle to the vehicle body. We have the control arm bushing, a sleeve which allows the control arm to move up and down the frame. We have the strut rod, prevents the control arm from swinging the front or rear of the vehicle. We have the ball joints, swivel joint that allows the control arm and steering knuckle to move up and down. Ito yung mga common na nasisira, itong ball joints na nasa control arm. Shock absorber or strut keeps the suspension for continuing to bounce after suspension. Stabilizer bar and spring. Yung spring supports the weight of the vehicle. Next, we have control arms and bushings. Ito na yung kanina, supporting dashboard. Supporting dashboard. Yung mga control arms. So we have the long lower control arm. We have the short upper control arm. Okay? So ang control arm as shown in figure 14-4 holds the steering knuckle, bearing support, or axle housing position as the wheel moves up and down. And the outer end of the control arm has a ball joint, and the inner end has bushings. So vehicles having control arms of the rear suspension may have bushings on both ends. So the control arm bushings act as a bearing which allow the control arm to move up and down on a shaft bolted to frame or suspension unit. So these bushings may be either pressed or screwed into the openings of the control arm. Okay po? So far, do you have questions? Hello po. So far, may questions po ba?
Wala po.
Wala po. Okay, the next one is yung strut rod. Yung strut rod, commonly yun yung bakal, yung nasa may shock. Yeah. Okay, ito yung strut rod's component. Okay. Ayan. Yung ating strut rod. Okay, so the strut rod fastens to the outer end of the control arm as shown in figure 14-5. Ito. This prevents the control arm from swinging toward the rear of the vehicle. The front of the strut has rubber bushings that soften the action of the strut rod. Okay? Next, ito yung ating mga ball joints. We have ball studs, lower ball joints. Next, we have ball joints. The ball joints naman are connections that allow limited rotations in every direction and support the weight of the vehicle. Next, we have the shock absorber and struts. Okay? So, siguro naman, alam na niyo yung shock absorber. So, the shock absorber are necessary because springs do not settle down fast enough. After spring being compressed and released, it continues to shorten and lengthen up the period of time. So, such a spring action of vehicle would produce a very bumpy and uncomfortable ride. So, it would also be dangerous because a bouncing wheel makes the vehicle difficult to control. Therefore, a dampening device is needed to control the spring oscillations. So, this device is what we call shock absorber. Kaya nga pag maganda ang shock, di ba, maganda ang play. Maganda yung pag-bounce. Lalo kapag tayo ay nasa mga rock roads o kaya dun sa mga lubak-lubak, pinagalog lang na kalsada. So the most common type of shock absorber used on motor vehicle in a double acting cylinder is a direct action type because it allows the use of more flexible spring as shown in 14-7 ito. Yan. Double acting direct action shock absorber. Ito yung common. Ano? Kahit sa mga motor, ano? Okay? Next. Ano bang nangyayari dito sa ating shock? So during compression, nawala. And rebound, the piston is moving. Kaya nga, may maintenance din tayo dito kasi yung fluid, nauubos din. So the fluid in the shock absorber is being forced through small openings which restrains spring movement. So these are small valves in the shock absorber that open when internal pressure becomes excessive. So when the valves are open, a slightly faster spring movement occurs. However, the restraints is still composed on the spring. So an outer metal cover protects the shock absorber from damage by stones that may be picked up by the wheels. Okay po. Next. Yung pinaka-common na shock sa kotse, yung tinatawag nating MacPherson strut. Okay? Ito. Yan. Okay po. Yung pinaka-common na strut assembly natin or the MacPherson strut. Okay po. So, ang parts niya, so we have the strut shock absorber, we have the dash shield, we have the lower spring seat, we also have the coil spring, we have the upper strut seat, we also have the strut bearing, we also have the rubber bumpers, we also have the rubber isolators, and the upper strut retainer. Ito. Strut rod nut, upper strut retainer, we have the bumper, we have the body mounting tower, we have the strut damper, we have the strut bearing, we have the upper spring seat, we have the rubber bumper, yan, we have the dash shield, we have the coil spring, we have the lower spring mount, we have the strut shock absorber assembly. So in a MacPherson strut type suspension, only one control arm ang present and a strut which are used to support each wheel assembly. A conventional lower control arm attaches to the frame and to the lower ball joint, and the ball joint holds the control arm to the steering knuckle or the bearing support. So the stop of the steering knuckle or bearing support is bolted to the strut, and the top of the strut is bolted to the frame or reinforced body structure. So this type of suspension is the most common type used on late model passenger vehicles, and the advantages are reduced number of parts in the suspension system, lower unsprung weight, and smoother ride. So on some vehicles, you may find a modified strut suspension na merong coil spring mounted sa top ng control arm and not around the strut. Next, we have the stabilizer bar. So, ang other term natin sa stabilizer bar ay yung what we call sway bar. So, it used to keep the body of the vehicle, as shown in 14-4, kanina pinakita ko na from leaning excessive in sharp turns. It is made of spring steel that stabilizes bar fastens to both lower control arms and to the frame. So, meron siyang rubber bushings between the stabilizer and control arms and the frame. So, ang stabilizer bar, when the vehicle rounds a corner, yung centrifugal force tends to keep the vehicle moving in a straight line. So, therefore, the vehicle leans out on the turn, and this lean out is called a body roll. So, with lean out or body roll, additional weight is thrown on the other spring. So, this puts additional compression on the other spring, and the control arm pivots upward. So, as the control arm pivots upward, it carries and the stabilizer up with it. So, yun. So, ibig sabihin, tumutulong stabilizer bar dun sa pag-support ng suspension system. So, as the control arm pivots upward, it carries ends the stabilizer up with it. And at the inner wheel on the turn, there is less weight on the spring. So, weight has shifted to the other spring because of centrifugal force. Therefore, the inner spring tends to expand, and the expansion of the inner spring tends to pivot the lower control arm downward. As this happens, the lower control arm carries its ends of the stabilizer bar downward. So the outer end of the stabilizer bar is carried upward by the outer control arm, and the inner end is carried downward. So this combined action twists the stabilizer bar and its resistance or twisting action limits body lean in corner. Next, we have the torque arm. Ito naman yung ating torque arm. Ano? Ito. Kita po ba yung arrow? Okay. Ang torque arm on a vehicle with a high performance suspension, you may encounter torque arms. Pero hindi naman lahat ng sasakyan may torque arm na kagaya nito. Ano? Yung nakasupport sa ating propeller. Ano? Parang nagsabi ko ng propeller. So these arms with the axle to reduce axle wind up. Axle wind up occurs when vehicles accelerating. So the torque is transferred through the axle housing and can actually spin the axle housing under the vehicle. So ang torque arm provides additional resistance to help prevent axle wind up. So it is attached to the axle housing and runs forward under the vehicle parallel to the drive shaft between the rear axle and transmission. So fusion through a bracket to allow some flex. Okay po. May tanong po sa control arm? May tanong? Pero madalang yung may mga model na may torque arm. Ano? Next, we have the suspension system spring. Sabi natin, the vehicle of the body or frame supports the weight of the engine. So basically, it also supports the power train and the passengers. So the body and frame are supported by the springs on each wheel. So of course, the shock. The weight of the frame, body, and attached components apply an initial compression to the spring, and the spring compresses further as the wheel of the vehicle eats, bumps, or expands. So uh, nag-ano lang naman yung spring kapag merong bump na encounter or merong lubak, such as when the wheels drop into the hole in the road, so pagka halimbawa nalugso or may bato, so the springs cannot do the complete job of the absorbing road shocks. So the tires absorb some of the irregularities in the road. So the springs in the seats of the vehicle also help absorb shock. However, the passengers feel little shock from road bumps and holes kapag maganda ang suspension system or spring or shock. So the ideal spring for an automotive suspension should absorb road shock rapidly and then return to its normal position slowly. However, this action is difficult to attain, so an extremely flexible or soft spring allows too much movement. So stiff or hard spring gives too rough a ride, and to attain the action to produce satisfactory riding qualities, we use a fairly soft spring with a shock absorber. Okay po. May tanong po sa shock. Okay po. Next, we have the spring terminology. So there are 4 basic types of automotive springs. Meron tayong coil spring, coil leaf, torsion bar, and airbag. So before we discuss these types of springs, so we will proceed muna dun sa mga basic terms. We have the spring rate, sprung weight, and non-sprung weight. Pag sinabi natin spring rate, it refers to the stiffness or tension of the spring. So ibig sabihin, the rate of spring is the weight required to deflect it in 1 inch. So ibig sabihin, kumbaga yung kanyang drive. So the rate of most automotive springs is almost constant through their operating range or deflection in the vehicle. So Hooke's law, as applied to coil spring, states that spring will compress in direct proportion to the weight applied. So therefore, if 600 pounds will compress as 3 spring inches, then 1,200 pounds will compress the spring twice as far or 6 inches. So depende dun sa height. So yun yung spring rate na tinatawag. Sunod, pag sinabi natin sprung weight, it refers to the weight of the body parts that are supported by the springs and suspension. Okay? Sprung weight should be kept in proportion to unsprung weight. Pag sinabi naman nating unsprung weight, yung isa, ito yung attached parts that are supported by the springs and suspension. So, pagka naman unsprung weight, this ito naman refers to the weight of the components that are not supported by the springs. Ito yung mga tires, wheels, wheel bearings, steering knuckles, and axle housings are considered unsprung weight. Unsprung weight should be kept low to move ride smoothness. Movement of high unsprung weight, which is the heavy wheel and suspension will tend to transfer movement into the passenger component. Okay po? Naintindihan po yung sprung and unsprung weight? Naintindihan po? Okay, next we have the lift spring. Ito yung mga common sa jeep. Ano? Okay? Ito yung common sa jeep. Ito. Yung mga lift spring na tinatawag.
Mulye.
Tama. Molye sa Tagalog. Pagitla. Okay, molye sa Tagalog. Tama. So, the lift spring acts as a flexible beam or self-propelled vehicles and transmit the driving and braking forces to the frame from the axle assembly. Lift springs are semi-elliptical in shape and are made of high-quality alloy steel. There are two types of lift spring. We have the single lift and the multi-lift. From the word itself, single. So, a single lift or monolift is single-layer spring. This is thick in the center and tape toppers down at each end. Single lift are used lighter suspension system. Nasaan na? Single lift are used in light suspension that do not carry great loads. A multi-lift naman, o mulye, sa jeep nga, multi-lifts o sa truck din, is made up of single lift with additional lift. The additional lifts make the spring stiffer, allowing it to carry greater loads. Okay. Ayan nga. 14-10. Yeah. Okay. So, next. Hindi natin pakahabain to. Ito naman tinatawag nating auxiliary suspension. So, we have the auxiliary spring bracket. We have the multi-leg spring, yan magkapatong. And we have the U-bolts. Yun naman tinatawag nating bogie suspension. Ito, very rare na rin siya. Nakabaligtad yung molde niya. Sa truck pala. Sa truck? Common pa to. Bogie suspension. We have the frame mounting pads. And we have the spring bearing plate. Okay po. May tanong sa lift spring. Ayan, ginagamit sa mga six-wheel drive vehicle utilize a bogie suspension. Next. Torsion bar. Okay, as shown in 14-13 ito. Okay po. Okay, anong purpose ng torsion bar? The torsion bar consists of steel rod made of spring steel and heated with heat or pressure to make it elastic, so it will retain its original shape after being twisted. Torsion bars, like the coil springs, are frictionless and require the use of shock absorber. The torsion bar is serrated on each end and attached to the torsion bar anchor at one end and the suspension system at the other end, as shown in 14-13. Yeah. Torsion bars are marked to indicate proper installation by an arrow stamped into the metal. Block pinabibigay niyo ng Benji. Galing CDL. Meron pala dito. Matutubog. Okay. May tanong po sa torsion bar. Hello? Next, we have the coil spring, as shown in 14-14. Ayan. Ito yung ating coil spring in MacPherson strap. Ano? Okay. So, the coil spring is made of round spring steel wood into coil. Commonly common. The shock, makikita din natin coil spring. Because of their simplicity, they are less costly to manufacture and also have the widest application. So, this spring is more flexible than the lip spring, allowing a smoother reaction when passing over irregularities on the road. Okay po. May tanong sa coil spring? Next, we have natin pakabasahin ano, yung components niya. We have the airbags. So, as shown in figure 14-15, ito yung airbags natin, the airbag suspension. Sa front, ito naman. Ano? Okay pa? Nakita? So, on airbag suspension, the airbag is a rubber air chamber that is replacing either of the aforementioned springs, usually in other higher and luxury vehicles. So the unit is closed at the bottom by a piston fitted in the control arm or strut shock absorber. So the top usually provides a means for inflating and monitoring the pressure within the bag. So the each bag replaces the metal spring that is usually installed to provide suspension in most vehicles. Okay, ito yung ating airbags. Next, we have suspension system service. So, commonly, a suspension undergoes tremendous abuse during normal vehicle operation. So, there are factors na nagtitrigger ng ating suspension system o bakit nasisira. So, una yung mga bump and potholes in the potholes in the road surface which cause constant movement. Ano yung mga fatigue and wear of the shock absorbers. So, struts, ball joints, bushing, springs, and other components. So, yung mga common suspension problems are abnormal noises such as pops, squeaks, and clunks, yung may mga nakalampag sa ilalim. Ano? So, tire wear, yung unbalanced tire wear, merong bakit yung kabila, pudpud na yung kanan, hindi. Ano? And then, steering wheel pull or front end shimmy, side-side vibration. So, suspension system where it can upset the operation of the steering system and change wheel alignment angles. So, proper service and maintenance of these components greatly increase reliability and vehicle life. Okay po. May tanong po? So far po may tanong? Wala daw. Sir, attendance po. Moderato. Moderato.
Sir, na late.
Okay na. Okay pa? Next, we have suspension bushing service. So, sa palagay nyo, ano yung common na problem pag sinabing suspension bushing? So, syempre, yung mga rubber bushing ang commonly nasisira. The rubber bushings are the commonly used in the inner ends of front control arms and rear control arms. So these bushings are prone to wear and should be inspected periodically. So, ang ginagawa natin pagka mga under chassis components, for certain mile age, ang iba nagpapa-under chassis check. Si Guzman din daw late. Okay, Guzman. Parang si Makatangay nandito na rin. Okay po. Sino pang walang attendance? So, worn control arm bushings can let the control arms move sideways. Kayong iba medyo nakabig, ano? So, this action causes tire wear and steering problems. So, to check the control arm bushing wear, try to move the control arm against normal movement. And for example, pry the control arm back and forth while watching the bushings. So if the control arm moves in relation to its shaft, the bushings are worn and must be replaced. So generally, to replace bushings in a front suspension, it requires the removal of the control arm. Yun nga lang, pag may mga components na kapag ang sira yung nasa lalim ng control arm, di kailangan mo nang tanggalin yung control arm. Kagaya nito, So to check the control arm bushing wear, try to move the control arm against the normal movement. So generally, to replace the bushings in a front suspension, it requires the removal of the control arm, and this usually requires the separation of the ball joints and compression of the coil spring. Yun nga lang, medyo matrabaho din, So the stabilizer bar and strut rod are also unbolted from the control arm, and the bolts passing through the bushings are then removed. So which allows for the control arm to be removed from the service with the control arm placed in a vise. Either press or screw out the old bushing and install new ones. So with new bushings installed, replace the control arm in reverse order. Ganun din lang naman din. So, ang pinaka-common nating way para malaman kung may alog or sira, di ba, ang ginagawa, tinataas siya nililifter. Inaalog-alog siya. And then, tinitingnan kung saan nanggagaling yung squeezing sound or peeping sound. And then, if we identify those peeping sound, we will identify if it's normal. And then, after that, edi kapag kita natin alog na sira, papalitan. And then torque all bolts to the manufacturer's specifications. So install the ball joint scatter pin. Check the manufacturer's service manual for information concerning preloading control arm bushings. So we must always note that you must always refer to manufacturer's service manual for exact directions and specifications. Commonly, ang under chassis problem is encountered from pag ang mileage mo na is 50,000 and above na. Pero kung medyo maingat ka, siguro mga 100,000 kilometer mileage na ano ang ano. So kahit tayo maingat, nasisira pa rin ang under chassis components kasi maraming kalsada yung may lubak, may humps na nakaka ng ating suspension components. So this will assure a safe place and quality ride. Next, we have the ball joint servicing. Okay, isa pa rin to sa common na nasisira yung ball joint. Naduduro na nami-misalign. So, worn ball joints cause the steering knuckle and wheel assembly to be loose on the control arm. So, a worn ball joint may be clunking or popping sound when turning or driving over a bump. So, ball joint wear is usually the result of improper lubrication or prolonged use. Kaya yung iba nire-grease yung mga ball joint. Okay, so anong ginagawa natin to prevent re-greasing of ball joint? Diba may re-greasing doon? The road killing points support the weight of the vehicle while swiveling into various angles. So if the points are improperly lubricated, the swiveling action will cause them to wear out quickly. So grease fittings are provided for ball joint lubrication. If the ball joint has a lub plug, it must be removed and replaced with a grease fitting using a hand-powered grease gun. Inject only grease fill to boot the ball joint. Ayan. Next. Yan. Checking all ball joints in front suspension with coil spring. Naalog-alog siya. Ayan. Horizontal movement, taas, and then vertical movement sa gilid. Horizontal movement, vertical movement. Okay? Ito naman, figure 14-18 shows the dial indicator clamp to the lower control arm. Ini-measure yung performance ng ball joint. Ano? Okay po? So, pwede bang let's have, wait lang ha, 5 minutes break lang, wait lang. Wala. So, ang ginagawa ng iba is yung inaalog, niralak yung wheel. So, the actual specification for allowable wear limits of the ball joints are listed in manufacturer service manual. So, refer to the specs of the vehicle you are checking. So, any ball joint should be replaced kapag merong excessive play or masyadong maalog. Ano? So, ball joint replacement can usually done without removing the control arm. Generally, place the vehicle on jack stand and remove the shock absorber, installing a spring compressor on the coil spring. Unbolt the steering knuckle and separate the steering knuckle and ball joint. So, commonly ito yung nasisira kasi siya yung direct na may exposed dun sa at papuntang gulong. Ano. Next, strut service. So, the most common trouble with the strut suspension is worn shock absorber. So, kapag hindi na siya masyado na petlay, dito ay pinapalitan. Okay po? Next, spring service. Kaya mo naman itong mouse ko. So, spring require very little or periodic service as per experience. Bihirang masira din siya. If it is properly maintained. So, springs require very little periodic service. Kagaya ng lip spring, service usually involves bushing replacement. Ano pa? Torsion bars requires adjustment and coil spring require no periodic service. So, spring service requirements can be found in service manual of the vehicle you are working on. So, spring fatigue o yung weakening can occur after prolonged service. Kung masyadong matagal. Ano? So, fatigue lowers the height of the vehicle. Kaya kasi may mga jeep na parang hindi na pantay, di ba? Ano? Allowing the body to settle toward the axles. So, this settling or sagging changes the position of the control arms, resulting in the misalignment of wheels. Yun nga lang, kapag hindi okay yung spring, yung ating lip spring, nagsasuffer yung ating gulong. Ano? Kasi, papansin mo, yung load is nagiging mabigat dun sa kanan o kaya mas na magiging mabigat sa kaliwa. Depende kung alin yung may sira. Ano? So, this condition also affects the ride of and appearance of the vehicle. So, to check spring condition or torsion bar adjustment, we usually measure carb height, pero minsan, physical manifestation, kitang-kita na kung may diferensya o wala. This is the distance from the point of the vehicle to the ground and place the vehicle on a level surface. So, then measure from the service manual, point of the frame, body, or suspension down to the shock load. So, you will compare the measurement of specs in the service manual and your recorded carb height. Ano? And you will replace the fatigue springs or just the rotary bars. Next, ayun, that ends our second part pala, which is the suspension system. May tanong po? May tanong? Suspension. May tanong po? Okay po, wait lang po ah. Pwedeng mag-resume tayo ng 10. May kailangan lang ayusin. Wait lang ah. Okay, so we're on the next part, which is the steering system. Okay. So what comes into your mind when you hear the word steering system? Anybody? What comes into your mind when you hear the word steering system? So, ako na rin yung sasagot. Ako yung sumagot. So, basically naman yung bela. So, the steering system allows the operator to guide the vehicle along the road and turn left or right as desired. So, basically, ang connotation natin is the steering itself. The steering system includes the steering wheel, which the operator controls, the steering mechanism also, which changes the rotary motion of the steering wheel into straight line motion, and the steering linkage. So at first, most system were manual, then power steering became popular. Okay, nung una ay mga hydrovac lang, then ngayon, ang uso na ay steering system. That's why malambot. Malambot na, no? So, pag lambot, paganda ng steering, pag sarap i-drive. So it is now installed in most vehicle manufactured today. So the steering system must perform several important functions. First, provide precise control of front wheel direction. Second, maintain the control amount of effort needed to turn the front wheels. Third, transmit road feel, of course, slight steering wheel, pull caused by road surface to the operator's hands. Fourth, we have absorb most of the shock going to the steering wheel as the tire hit bumps and holes in the road. Also, it allows for suspension action. So, let's have a first discussion with the steering linkage. Ito yung ating steering linkage, 14-19. Okay. So, yeah, we have the steering arm, we have the center link, idler arm, we have the tie rod assembly, we have the spindle. Okay. So, yun yung ating steering linkage component. So under the steering linkage, it is a series of arms, rods, and ball sockets that connects the steering mechanism to the steering knuckles. So the steering linkage, from the word itself, linkage, it's used with most manual and power steering mechanism typically includes the Pitman arm, the center link, the idler arm, and the two ride assemblies. So this configuration of linkage is also known as the parallelogram steering linkage and is used of many passenger vehicles. Okay. Next, we have the Pitman arm, as shown in 14-19. Okay. So the Pitman arm transfers steering mechanism motion to the steering linkage. The Pitman arm is splined to the steering mechanism output shaft, and a large nut and lock washer secure the Pitman arm to the output shaft. Next, we have the center link. Ito. Okay, ang ating center link is a parallelogram steering linkage used center link, also known as the intermediate rod, track rod, or relay rod, which is simply a steel bar that connects the steering arms. So the turning action of the steering mechanism is transmitted to the center link through the Pitman arm. Ayan. Okay. So idler arm, so the center link is hinged in the opposite of the pitman arm by the means of the idler arm as shown in 14-19 ng ating idler arm. Yan. Okay. So ang idler arm is support the free and the center link allows it to move left and right with ease. So the idler arm bolts to the frame or subframes. Next we have the ball sockets are small ball joints. They provide for motion in all directions. Next, we have the tie rod assemblies. Siyempre, yung tie rod, we have the inner tie rod and the outer tie rod. Two tie rod assemblies are used to fasten the center link to the steering knuckles. So, ball sockets are on both ends on the tie rod assembly. Ang adjustment sleeve connects ang inner and outer tie rods. So, meron dong mga sleeves and then yun yung lalagyan natin ng mga marks kapag tayo magkakalas at magkakabit. Para pag kinabit, madali natin maano natin yung kanilang adjustment. Ano? So these sleeves are tubular in design and threaded over the inner and outer tie rods. And the adjusting sleeves provide a location for toe adjustment. Clamps and clamp bolts are used to secure the sleeve, and some manufacturers require the clamps be placed in a certain position in relation to the tie rod, top or front surface to prevent interference with other components. Next, we have drag link. Okay, ito. So, the drag link, yan ang ating component. Ito. In most commonly used four-wheel vehicles, it has a drag link as shown in 14-20. The drag link connects the pitman arm to the spindle at a point near the spindle. The tie rod will connect the two steer wheels together. The objective is to keep the tie rod as close to as parallel with the axle as possible. Next, we have the steering ratio. Okay, so one of the purposes of steering mechanism is to provide mechanical advantage. In a machine or mechanical device, it is the ratio of the output force to the input force applied to it. So this means that a relatively small applied force can produce a much greater force at the other end of the device. In the steering mechanism, the operator applies a relatively small force to the steering wheel. This action results in much larger steering force at the front wheels. For example, in one steering system, applying 10 pounds to the steering wheel can produce up to 270 pounds at the wheels. Kaya yung iba, slightly lang ang pagkontrol ng manubela. Ano? So this increase in steering force is produced by the steering ratio. So the steering ratio is the number of degrees that the steering wheel must be turned to 5 volt. Front wheels, 1 degree. Ano? So the higher the steering ratio, for example, 30:1, the easier it is to steer the vehicle, all other things being equal. However, the higher the steering ratio, the more the steering wheel has to be turned to achieve steering. Okay? With a 30:1 steering ratio, the steering wheel must turn 30 degrees to 5 volt, the front wheels 1 degree. Actual steering ratio varies greatly depending on the type of the vehicle and the type of operation. High steering ratios are often called slow steering because the steering wheel has to be turned by any degrees to produce a small steering effect. So low steering ratios called fast or quick steering require much less steering wheel movement to produce the desired steering effect. So commonly, yung mga bago ngayon ay ayan, yung less steering ratio kaya mas sensitive, madaling ikot. Ano? Steering ratio is determined by two factors. Una, steering linkage ratio and the ratio in the steering mechanism. So the relative length of the pitman arm and steering arm determines the steering linkage ratio. So the steering arm is bolted to the steering spindle at one end and connected to the steering linkage at the other. So when the effective lengths of the pitman arm and steering arm are equal, ibig sabihin yung haba at saka yung ng steering arm at pitman arm dictates the steering ratio. The linkage has a ratio of 1:1. If the pitman arm is shorter or longer than the steering arm, the ratio is less than or more than 1:1. So for example, the pitman arm is about twice as long as the steering arm. This means that for every degree the pitman arm swings, the wheels will pivot about 2 degrees. Therefore, the steering linkage ratio is about 1:2. So most of the steering ratio is developed in the steering mechanism. So the ratio is due to the angular pitch of the teeth on the worm gear to the angular pitch on the sector gear. Steering ratio is also determined somewhat by the effective length and shape of the teeth on the sector gear. So in a rack and pinion steering system, in a rack and pinion steering mechanism, the steering ratio is determined largely by the diameter of the pinion gear. The smaller the pinion, the higher the steering ratio. However, there's a limit to small the pinion can limit. Okay, so next we have the manual steering system. So manual steering system is considered to be the entirely adequate for smaller vehicles. Commonly, yung iba ang connotation hydrovac ano. So this is a tight, fast, and accurate maintaining steering control. However, you need to exert a much force and much force para makapag-steer ka ng maayos. So, however, larger and heavier engines, greater front overhang on larger vehicles, and a trend toward wide stars have increased the steering effort requirements. Ano? So, steering mechanism with the higher gear ratios were tried, but dependable power steering system were found to be the answer. Ano? Kaya nagkaroon ng power steering para mas madali ang pagmamaniobra ng sasakyan. There are several types of manual steering. So we have the worm and sector, worm and roller, cam and lever, worm and nut, and the rack and pinion. So by and by, I will be showing those type of manual steering. So first, we have the worm and sector. Ito yung ating worm and sector configurations. So yan, upper roller bearing, we have steering lever worm, adjusting nut end, sector, and the pitman arm. Under the worm and sector, the pitman arm carries the sector gear that matches with the worm gear and the steering gear shaft on the sector of the gear is used because it turns through an arc of approximately 70 degrees. Actually, halos pare-parehas naman siya. Nagkakaiba-iba lang siya ng kaunti dito sa itsura. Next, we have the worm and roller. Ito naman yung ating worm and roller. Worm and roller steering gear. Yan na itsura. Okay. So the worm and roller is quite similar to the worm and sector except a roller is supported by bore or roller bearings. Next, we have the cam and lever. Ito naman yung ating cam and lever. Yan. Okay. Under the cam and lever, in which worm is known as the cam and the sector as the lever. So, dito naman, yung worm yung cam and then yung sector yun yung lever. Ano? So, worm and sector, dito cam and lever. Okay? Yan, may cam, then may lever. Next, we have the worm and nut. Ito naman, yung worm and nut. Yan, ito yung tsura. Worm and nut. Under the worm and nut, the worm and nut is made different combinations. So a nut is meshed with a screw up and down on the worm gear, and the nut may operate the pitman arm directly through a lever to the sector on the pitman arm shaft. Next, we have the rack and pinion. Ito yung pinaka-common, rack and pinion steering gear. Rack and pinion steering gear. Ito. May rack and may pinion. Kaya siya ay rack and pinion. Under the rack pinion steering gear, it has increasingly popular on smaller passenger vehicle. It is simpler, more direct action, maybe straight, mechanical, or power assisted. The manual rack and pinion basically consists of steering gear shaft, pinion gear, rack plus spring, bearing seals, and gear housing. Okay? Next, may tanong sa manual steering system. Sorry po, medyo mabilis kasi we're running out of time. At ako may pinuntan. Next is the power steering system. So the power steering system normally use an engine-driven pump and hydraulic system to assist steering action. So pressure from the oil pump is used to operate a piston in a cylinder assembly. When the control valve routes oil pressure into one input on the piston is slide in its cylinder. Piston movement can then be used to help move the steering system components and front wheels of the vehicle. The components that are common to all power steering systems, yung power steering pump, control valve, and power steering hoses. So, meron din siya ng So, the power steering pumps and engine-driven and supply hydraulic fluid under pressure. So, the other components are shown in 14-26. There are four basic types of power steering system. Meron tayong vane, roller, steeper, and gear types. Okay, ito yung ating power steering pump. Okay. So a belt running from the engine crankshaft pulley normally powers the pump. During the pump operation, the drive belt turns the pump shaft and pumping elements. Oil is pulled into one side of the pump by vacuum and the oil is trapped and squeezed into a smaller area inside the pump. The action pressurizes the oil of the outlet as it flows the rest of the system. The pressure relief flow valve is built into the pump to control maximum oil pressure. This action prevents system damage by limiting pressure developed throughout the different engine speeds. So the control valve or the rotary pull valve, which is actuated by steering wheel movement, is designed directly is to direct the hydraulic fluid under pressure to the proper location in the steering mechanism. The control valve may be mounted either in the steering mechanism or on the steering linkage, depending on which system configuration is used. So ito yung ating control valves. Okay, we have the column type control valve. We have the inline valve type cylinder unit. We have the spool center booster satisfactory, and we have the forward chamber control valve. Yan. So power steering hoses are high pressure hydraulic rubber hoses that connect the power steering pump and the integral gearbox or power cylinder. So one line serves as a supply and the other acts as a return line to the reservoir of the power steering pump. There are three major types of power system used on mga modern vehicles. We have the integral, piston, atone, yan. Yung iba't ibang type. Letter A, we have the integral piston, yan, type. Letter B, we have the external linkage. And letter C, we have the rack and pinion. Okay. So under the integral, it has the hydraulic piston mounted in the steering gearbox. So this is the most common type of power steering. Basically consists of power steering pump, hydraulic lines, and integral. Okay, ito yung ating integral power steering. Okay. May hydraulic valve and gearbox power steering. Pitman arm, pressure box, and then. So wait lang. Forgive me for a second.
May ano ka na dyan? Folder. Folder. Hindi kayo pa. Blue. Ano ba kayo ba dyan? Blue. Wala ka nung... Blue kaya blue? Alam na iwan ko pa yung mata mo. Pas-pas ako din niya pag-pas.
Okay, so next, after this, we have the external cylinder linkage. As you can see on the description, we have the steering gear, the power cylinder, frame bracket, and hydraulic control valve, and pump and reservoir, and relay rod. Okay, next we have the power rack and pinion. Yan, meron siyang power cylinder, power piston, hydraulic lines, control valve, and other components. So, the main difference, edi syempre, mas malambot at mas double acting yung ah, steering suspension control to manual steering suspension. Questions? Questions po? Sorry po, ako'y nagmamadali. Kami paalis na. May questions po? Wala? Sige, kung wala ayaw nyo umimik, I will now proceed with steering system maintenance. So, maintenance of the steering system consists of regular inspection, of course, lubrication and adjusting components to compensate the wear. When inspecting the steering system, so hindi naman siya basta nasisira unless excessive or may puwersa na nangyari. When inspecting the steering system, you will need someone to assist you by turning the steering wheel back and forth. Ganun pa rin, alog-alog system. Pero commonly, meron na tayong mga devices na pwedeng gamitin which will be later on discussed. To see the free play while you check the steering linkage and connections. So you will also be able to determine if the steering mechanism is securely fastened to the frame, and then a slight amount of free play may seem significant, but if allowed to remain, the free play will quickly increase, resulting to poor steering control. After prolonged use, steering components can fail, so it is important that the steering system can be kept in good working condition for obvious safety reasons. So it is your job to find and correct any system malfunctions quickly and properly. Next, we have the steering linkage service. Commonly, an area containing a small ball and socket joint is subjected to extreme movements and dirt. So, the combination of these two will cause the ball and socket joint to wear. Yan, ball joint pa rin. When your inspection finds worn steering linkage components, they must be replaced with new components. The areas of concerns are idler arm and the tie rods pa din. So, in idler arm servicing, ang common cause nito is a worn idler causes play in the steering wheel. Okay, di ba parang may mga nangyayaring ganyan. Yung biglang nawala ng control yung driver. Nawala ng control yung driver dun sa manubela. So the front wheels, mostly the right wheel, can turn without causing movement of the steering wheel. So this is a very common wear point in the steering linkage and should be checked carefully. So to check an idler arm, for wear, grab the outer end of the arm and the opposite frame and force it up and down. So ganun pa rin. It's either moving vertical movement or horizontal movement to check if there is variance or there is yung mga alog-alog pa rin. So note that the amount of movement at the end of the arm and to compare it to the manufacturer's specifications. So typically, an idler arm should not move up and down more than 1/4 inch. Merong clearance. So the replacement of a worn idler arm is as follows. So number one, you must separate the outer end of arm to the center link and the ball joint fork or puller. So yan. So follow nyo lang yung procedures and then pagka ikakabit, pabalik naman. Next, we have tie rod and service. In tie rod and service, the worn tie rod will also cause steering play. So, commonly, merong kabig din, and then hindi pantay yung toe. When the movement is detected between the ball stud and socket, replacement is necessary. So, the replacement of worn tie rod is as follows. Siyempre, you will separate the tie rod from the steering knuckle of center link. So, pero naglalagay tayo ng mark pag magtatanggal tayo ng tie rod. Kasi, pag kinabit natin, kailangan kung ilang yung thread ang ginamit mo, pag binalik mo, ganun din karami yung thread. Yan yung iba naglalagay ng marker. As with the idler arm, a ball joint, fork, or puller can be used. With the tie rod removed and the steering knuckle center link, measure tie rod length. Yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. This will allow you to set the new tie rod at about the same length as the old one. Okay po? The alignment of the front wheel is altered when the when the length of the tie rod is changed. That's why marking is very important when replacing and installing new tie rods. So loosen and unscrew the tie rod adjustment sleeve from the tie rod end. Turn the new tie rod and into the adjustment sleeve until it is exactly the same with the length of the old tie rod. Okay po? Tandaan po yon. So install the tie rod stud into the center link or steering knuckle and tighten the fasteners to manufacturer's specifications. Install new cutter pins and bend correctly and tighten the adjustment sleeve and check steering action. Next, we have the manual steering service. Steering service, system service normally involves, of course, adjusting and replacement of worn parts. Yun lang naman ang pwede natin gawin. Adjustment or replacing. So, service is required when the worm shaft rotates back and forth without normal shaft movement. So, this would indicate that there's a play inside the gearbox. If excess clearance is not corrected after the adjustment, the steering gearbox must be replaced or rebuilt. Manual gearbox adjustment. Since there are numerous steering gearbox configuration, we will discuss the most common type, which is the recirculating ball and nut. Commonly naman, hindi tayo nag-a-adjust na, nagre-replace na. There are two basic adjustments. We have the worm bearing preload and the over-center clearance. The worm bearing preload assures that the worm shaft is held snugly inside the gearbox housing. If the worm shaft bearings are too loose, wait lang po pala, wait lang. Makalimutan ko. Nabibigay ni Ma'am Imbe. Nabibigay ni Ma'am Imbe. Galing CDO. Tagagatlong piraso tayo.
CDO na.
Ang dami mong sweat. May price pa. Mag-away kayo ha. Okay po. So, sige, ating skip na muna. At we're running out of time. So, the procedure is here. Disconnect, lose, and then use any readings, and then return using the reverse order. Ganun pa rin. Same with the gearbox. Find the center position, and then follow these procedures. And then after that, I assemble using the reverse order. In the rack and pinion servicing, rack and pinion have few parts that fail. When problems do develop, they are frequently in the tie rod ends, commonly. Kaya most common na ang nangyayari pag ang sira sa steering ay sa mga rack and pinion din. And sa mga tie rods din, tie rod ends. So when not properly lubricated, the rack and pinion will also be causing problems. So depending upon the manufacturer, some rack and pinion steering mechanisms need periodic lubrication. Others only need lubrications when the unit is being reassembled after being repaired. Most rack and pinion systems have a rack guide adjustment screw. So this screw is adjusted when there is excessive play in the steering. Basic procedures for adjusting rack and pinion are as follows. So hindi ko nababasahin. So yan, loosen lock nut, tighten lock nut for instructions, and then in assembling is reverse order pa rin. Power steering system maintenance. So most common components of power steering systems are same as those used on manual steering system. However, a pump, hoses, and a power piston and a control valve are added. So yun yung dagdag. Mayroong pump, hoses, power piston, and control valve. So these components can also fail, requiring repair or replacement. Power steering systems typically consist of the following. So una, checking power steering fluid level. So yun yung common. Checking belts and hoses, checking the system for leaks, pressure testing system, and leading system. In checking the power steering fluids, simply you will check the level of the power steering fluid and you should not let the engine run. Okay, when checking, dapat ay hindi siya engine running. With the park brake set, place the transmission in either park or neutral. And these are the basic procedures for checking the level of the power steering fluid. Una, syempre, you will unscrew and remove the cap to the power steering reservoir. The cap will normally have a dipstick attached. Number two, syempre, pupunasan niyo yung dipstick and reinstall the cap. Remove the cap and inspect the level of the fluid on the dipstick, and most dipstick will have hot and cold markings. Make sure you read the correct markings on the dipstick. So, syempre, dapat nakalibel ang sasakyan. Ano? Hindi yung nakadahilig o kaya ano, palusong. Okay, so the fluid level will rise on dipstick as the steering system warms. Ano? So if required, add only enough fluid to reach the correct mark on the dipstick. So hindi dapat mag-over. Automatic transmission fluid is commonly used in power steering system. So pwedeng gumamit ng ATF. Ano? So some power steering system, however, do not use automatic fluid. So yung iba naman hindi gumagamit ng ATF and require special power steering fluid. Magkaiba pa yung iba. So always refer to the manufacturer service manual for the correct type of fluid for your system. And then do not overfill the system. Again, do not overfill. Overfilling will cause fluid to spray out the top of the reservoir and into the engine and other components. Next, servicing power steering hoses and belt. Of course, syempre na-warn din ang belts and hoses. So, always inspect the condition of the hoses and the belt very carefully. Pero kung nakita niyong may crack na o kaya mayroon ng tagas, syempre, you have no choice. You have to repair and replace. You have to replace the worn components. The hoses are exposed to tremendous pressures. That's why if a hose ruptures, a sudden and dangerous loss of power assist occurs. So make sure that the hose is not rubbing on moving or hot components. This can cause hose failure. And then also you should remember that power steering pump pressure can exceed up to 1000 psi. So this is enough pressure to cause serious eye injury. So wear eye protection when working on power steering system. And then it is necessary to replace a power steering hose. So, ang gagawin, you will use a flare nut or tubing wrench. So, this action will prevent you from skipping the nut. When starting a new hose fitting, use your hand. This action will prevent cross-threading. Always tighten the hose fitting properly, and a loose power steering belt can slip, causing a belt squeal and erratic or high steering effort. So a worn or cracked belt may break during operation, which would cause a loss of power assist. When it is necessary to tighten a power steering belt, do not pry on the side of the power steering pump. The thin housing on the pump can easily be dented and ruined. So pry only on the reinforced flange on a recommended point. Okay? So these are the basic procedures for installing a power steering belt. So, syempre, first, you will loosen the bolts that holds the power steering pump to its bracket. Push inward on the pump to release tension on the belt with the tension removed. Slide the belt from the pulley, tatanggalin. Obtain a new belt and install in reverse order. Remember, when adjusting belt tension to specifications, pry only on the reinforced flange or recommended pry point. Next, we have the power steering leaks. Kapag ka naman may leaks ang power steering, so I think this is the most common problem with power system is the fluid leakage. With pressure over 1000 psi, of course, probably na magkaroon talaga ng leaks. With certain over or mileage, leaks can develop easily around fittings, in hoses, at the gearbox seals, or at the rack pinion assembly. To check for leaks, syempre, minsan naman very imminent na yung leaks. Kung kita mo na yung nagli-leak, di imminent na. So, pero kung hindi mo naman makita kung saan nagbumula, to check for leaks, you can wipe the fluid-soaked areas with a clean rag and then have another person to start and idle the engine. And then makikita mo kung may nagli-leak dun sa mga fittings. So, while watching for leaks, have the steering wheel turn to the right and left also. This action will pressurize the components of the systems that might be leaking. So, gagalaw-galaw yung manubela. So, after locating the leaking component, remove and repair or replace it. Okay po. Next, we have power steering pressure test. So, a power steering pressure test can check the operation of the power steering pump, the pressure relief valve, and the control valve, the hoses, and the power piston. So, basic procedures for performing power steering pressure tests are as follows. Una, you will use a steering system pressure tester na yan, pwede niyong gamitin. Connect the pressure gauge and shut-off valve to the power steering pump outlet and hose and torque the hose fitting properly. Number two, with the system full of fluid, kailangan puno muna. Start and idle the engine with the shut-off valve open. While turning the steering wheel back and forth, ginagalaw-galaw ang manubela. This will bring the fluid up to temperature. Number three, close the shut-off valve to check the system pressure and note and compare the pressure reading with manufacturer's specifications. Ganun pa rin, i-check nyo yung pressure. Kaya pressure testing. And do not close the shut-off valve for more than 5 seconds. If the shut-off valve is closed longer, damage will occur to the power steering pump from overheating. To check the action of power piston, control valves, and hoses, measure the system pressure while turning the steering wheel right and left with the shut-off valve open. Note and compare the readings of the manufacturer's specs. If the system is not within the specs, use the manufacturer's service manual to determine the source of the problem. Next, bleeding a power steering system. Okay. Anytime you can replace or repair a hydraulic component such as pump, hoses, and power piston. And after repairing that, you should bleed the system. Parang preno ano. Bleeding system assures that all of air is out of the hoses, pump, and gearbox. So air can cause the power steering system to make a buzzing sound, and the sound will occur as the steering is turning right or left. To bleed out any air, start the engine and turn the steering wheel fully from side to side. Keep checking the fluid and add as needed. This will force the air into the reservoir and out of the system. Okay. Next, troubleshooting steering system. So, the most common problems of steering are as follows. So, syempre, steering wheel play, hard steering, matigas, abnormal noises when turning, may kakaibang tunog pag iniikot ng manubela. So, these problems normally point to component wear, lack of lubrication, pwedeng walang langis, pwedeng may sira, or incorrect adjustment, sarang adjustment. So, you must inspect and test the steering system to locate the source of the trouble. So, under the steering wheel play, the most common of all problems in steering is the excessive steering wheel play. It's normally caused by worn ball socket, worn idler arm, or too much clearance in the steering gearbox. Typically, you should not be able to turn the steering wheel, which is not more than 1.5 inches, causing the front wheels to move. If, hala, naiwan yung ulo ko. Ayaw nang gumalaw. Okay. Naiwalay na yung ulo ko dun sa video. Okay, if the steering wheel rotates excessively, a serious steering problem exists. An effective way to check for play in the steering linkage or pneumatic is by the dry part test. With the full weight of the vehicle on the front wheels, have someone move the steering wheel from side to side while you examine the steering system for looseness. Ayun, manual pinapaikot yung manubela. Start inspection of the steering column shaft and work your way to the tie rod ends. So ensure that the movement of the component causes an equal amount of movement of the adjoining component. So yun, maya tie rod na naman yung sira. So you will also watch for ball studs that wiggle in their sockets. With the rack and pinion steering system, squeeze the rubber boots and feel the inner tie rod to detect wear. If the tie rod moves sideways in relaxation of the rack, the socket is worn and should be replaced. Ganun pa rin naman. Di naman siya nire-repair, replace siya. Another way of inspecting the steering system involves moving the steering components and front wheel by hand. With the steering wheel lock, raise the vehicle and place it on handset. Then force the front wheels right and left while checking for component looseness. Next, ito yung isa pa sa common kapag luma na yung mga sasakyan, masyado ng matigas ang manubela. Hard steering, ang tinatawag. So, if hard steering occurs, what would be the probable cause? So, if hard steering occurs, it is probably due to excessive tight adjustment in the steering gearbox or linkages. Hard steering can also caused by low or uneven tire pressure. Ayan, pwede rin sa tire. Abnormal friction in the steering gearbox and in the linkage or the ball joints or improper wheel or frame alignment. The failure of power steering system in the vehicle causes the steering system to revert to straight mechanical operation, requiring much greater steering force to be applied by the operator. When this happens, the power steering gearbox and pump should be checked as outlined in the manufacturer's service manual. To check the steering system for excessive friction, you will raise the front of your vehicle and turn the steering wheel and check the steering system components to locate the source of excessive friction. You will disconnect the pitman arm, and if this action eliminates the frictional grab, then the friction is either in the linkage or the steering knuckles. If the friction is not eliminated when the pitman arm is disconnected, then the steering box is probably faulty. If hard steering is not due to excessive friction in the steering system, the most probable cause are the incorrect front end alignment, misaligned frame, or sagging springs. So excessive tire caster causes hard steering also, when alignment will be described in later chapter. Next, yung tinatawag nating steering system noise. Diba yung may mga maingay, lalo pag naikot tunugan, ano. So, when problems exist, steering system can produce abnormal noises such as rattles, squeaks, and squeals. Noises can be signs of worn components, unlubricated bearings or balls, joints, loose components, sleeping belts, low power steering fluid, or other troubles. So, rattles in the steering linkage may be developed if linkage components become loose. Squeaks during turns can develop due to lack of lubrications also. Okay? Belt squeal. Okay po. So, we will end muna dito kasi yung sunod ay yung tires, wheels, and wheel bearings na. So, it will be, mabibitin na tayo, 11:20 na. So far po, do you have any more questions? Questions po?
Sir, ako